Hey everybody, this is Jason with the Everyday Card Collector. I'm with Aaron, Value Vintage. Aaron, how you doing, my friend?
Excellent, sir. How are you this evening?
Very good. We are
Excellent.
here, everyone, to start our inaugural episode called the Mount Rushmore Show. And what this is going to involve is us picking four players on a particular topic. Aaron, I'll let you kind of go into the details of what we're doing, but we're hoping that this will be a reoccurring show. We don't know how often, if it's going to be weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, but we just wanted to kind of get this rolling. This was Aaron's idea, and I think it's an awesome idea. And we wanted to kind of get it rolling and see how everybody likes it. So I'll let you take it, Aaron, and kind of go into the rules and what we've got cooking.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I think really just wanted to kind of build this around a few basic ideas. One, I think most of us love lists. I know I do. When I see someone saying like, here's my Mount Rushmore, here's my top 10, here's my, whatever, I'm in. So I thought that'd be a really fun way to kind of keep a theme. Wanted to have a great excuse to hang out with good friends. So awesome to have you along for, the duration. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and then see who we can bring in. Anyone that has a passion, a way of collecting. I don't care if it's players, teams, sets, positions, weird looking, best looking cards, whatever. If you think it's a fun topic, we can get together. We'll pick out our top four. We'll include some honorable mentions and just chat it up and have fun. That's really what it's all about. That's why we're here. So
That's exactly right. And now I think that we don't have a lot of rules. It's kind of loose. I think the only rule is if you have someone on your Mount Rushmore of whatever topic we're talking about, you have to have a card, correct?
yes.
So this will be, so for all of you who know me and know Aaron, this is our inaugural episode, and it's kind of our layup episode. So the topic for tonight is Mount Rushmore of Chicago White Sox. And I'm sure if you don't know us, for those who don't, I am a White Sox fan, and Aaron is a White Sox fan as well. So this was kind of our layup to the inaugural episode. And then in the future, I think the intention is we want to start bringing guests on, making this maybe 3 people, even 4 people, and just have a good time with this. That's exactly what it's about. So
yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome. We are co-hosts, by the way. So this will either be on Aaron's channel all the time or mine. We don't even know yet. So it's kind of moving parts, but we figured we'd get it kicked off and have a good time with it. So
yeah, that's what it's all about. So all right.
All righty, sir. Well, what we're talking about today, Mount Rushmore White Sox. I'll let you kick it off. Who's your first player?
It's tougher than it would seem, honestly. It's when you start going through and digging through and you start thinking, what factors do you want? Is it WAR? Is it statistics? Is it Hall of Fame? Is it time? For me, I think a big component was time with team. And the first player kind of immediately breaks, not only he's not vintage, but he also didn't spend his whole career with the same team, being the White Sox. But I thought I would toss Frank out as an essential. So that's a 95, and feature a few cards. I feel like when I was growing up, for sure, that was a big deal card.
I love that you said that, because that's my favorite rookie card of his, and believe it or not, I don't have it. So yeah, I mean, it's fairly inexpensive, so it's one of those you can always get at any point in time. But yeah, it's one I need. It's one I need to get. So
yeah, well, and it's that's one of the reasons I snagged this one. Is I wanted one that had, it's got HOF. He's got 35 on it. Yeah. Actually, this one doesn't have HOF, but it has Big Hurt on it.
Right, which is cool. Cool. That's cool.
And then if you, I have to include his passive aggressive upper deck card.
Right. The I'm not happy you're taking this picture.
Yeah, I just got slid in I'm a little against the media.
Sure. Well, yeah. I think for those who follow baseball, pretty much know, he is the guy that is first thought of when it comes to this organization. So I kind of in my head ranked them. So in my head, it would be 1. And of course, 1 would be the same player. So there's his Topps rookie. I love this card in the 10. And then I've got a lot of ungraded stuff because he doesn't fall into that vintage era. But there's his score rookie, and you had said he didn't play his entire career, but I think he played for 20 years, right? 16 of them were with the Sox. So I think,
unbelievable. Yeah.
yeah, I think the majority of the time there's a Topps Finest.
Nice.
We were kind of chatting before we started taping. I like these. These are the Pristines or the Prestige. This is post playing days, but just a cool card.
Yeah.
And then, '05 World Series.
Nice.
That was he was actually on the team. People ask me that all the time. He was hurt. I think he played like 34 games that year, but he got his ring. '01. And then I've got this is Topps Finest Gems. So, but yeah, I think, I did a little research on these guys, which is kind of easy for you and I being fans of White Sox. This will get more difficult as we pick more topics, but I think he finished with a 73.8 WAR. I took notes here. 16 years with the Sox, finished with a 301 average, is part of the 500 home run club, 521, 2 MVPs, and this last stat kind of surprised me for as long as he played. He was an all-star, but only 5 times, and that kind of surprised me. I thought it would be more.
I felt like he was in that era where like they might take a DH or they might not kind of thing. And
right.
He was such a DH for so long, and his peak was such a high peak. But I guess I don't know. That was steroids era, so
right.
He was such a monster. He's such a big, clean, college tight end. So he was just a big dude. He wasn't ever accused of being a juicer, but
no, he was that big. And for those who don't know, he played his college ball at University of Auburn, and he played with Bo Jackson.
Yeah.
So, that's two pretty phenomenal players coming out of college at the same time. So
yeah.
Couple big but guys. I think all right. So we didn't. For those who are watching, we didn't really discuss who we picked. So this is kind of a surprise for both of us, somewhat, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
On number 2. Should I go number 2?
Yeah. Kick off 2, and I'll see if I match you.
So number 2 for me, for most people who follow this organization, he was Mr. White Sox. He was the guy known as the greatest White Sox player of all time until Frank came along, in my opinion. Actually has a higher WAR than Frank. Did not play his whole career with the White Sox. 19 years, I believe, is what he played with the Sox, though, if I'm not mistaken. And that is Luke Epling. So this is his 1934 Gaudi. That's considered to be his rookie card. So that one's a must. If you guys ever seen my channel, you've certainly seen that. This is a non-playing days card, but a great card. I actually got this from our good friend Warren D at the CLE. So this is part of the Ted Williams collection. And then this one, I'll kind of bring it back a little. This was also a gift, too, from Scott at Reindeer Studios. So I got that at the National this year. And I thought it was like, he told me what it was, but I don't think it's an exhibit card because it's pretty big. So I'm not quite 100% certain what it is. You're the guy, Aaron. I guess you would be the one I need to ask what is that exactly. But
I don't know that either.
Yeah, but very cool piece. I actually have a couple cards coming back from SGC, and I've shown the one on my channel. One of them is a playing days card of him. So, but again, 19 years with the White Sox, if I'm not mistaken. Missed 1 year for service, 77.4 WAR. 310 average, 2,800 hits. He was a 7-time All-Star and a 2-time batting title. Had a 2-time won the batting title twice. So, Just a couple stats that I'll rattle off that I was writing down.
No, I love that. Yeah, you got to qualify, not just
right.
More than the emotional decision. Yeah. No, and actually, he's a guy that I collect fairly strong. He went to college. You know where he went to college?
I do not.
Oglethorpe.
Oh, didn't you go there?
No, well, I actually applied there and was accepted. It's a very small school in Georgia.
That's what it was. You told me that.
Down there, yeah. I've mentioned that a few times on just videos because it's just such a weird, random, how is that possible kind of thing. So,
right.
Old aches and pains.
That's beautiful.
So here's the crazy thing, and I don't know if it's going to show up well enough with this size screen, but it's the Canadian.
That's the worldwide gum, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So you get the English and French on the back, but that's a 34. Here's a 32 W574.
Yeah. See, I knew you'd bring the heat on this stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah, kind of the, what is the rookie? And that's not an expensive card. I think the Gaudi goes for more.
Yeah, because it's considered to be, right. I mean, that's exactly what is a rookie. You've had that on your channel,
Yeah.
and I watched that. I mean, so that's older than what I showed, and
Yeah. And so I'm gonna fire through a few app links just
yeah,
because, so you got Leaf, you got the Diamond Stars. I actually lucked out and got a decent Diamond Stars one.
beautiful card.
Let's see, a couple others. Oh, got an auto.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
And those aren't hard to find. They're not expensive either.
No, I know when Mike Moynihan had a box out right before the National, and he was selling autos. He had about 6 or 7 Appling autos in there, and probably still has them because I don't think he's a real high-end demand player.
Yeah, and I mean they're $20. Like a modern guy that's 30 years old won't sign for that, and that guy is deceased Hall of Famer, and it's cheaper than that with the card slab.
That's crazy. Yeah, exactly right.
So here's another couple that I think are just really neat.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I love the images on those. So that is a 1936 Worldwide Gum. The images in that set are just so unique.
I know the set, Aaron, but I got to be honest with you, I don't think I've ever seen that of Appling. That's cool.
Yeah, that was one that I saw that and I was like, I don't even know who it is, but I'm going to buy that. And I looked, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's Appling. That's amazing.
Hey, it fits perfectly.
Yeah. And then I'll toss that thing out there again. I just showed that one recently, but
yeah,
being such a high grade on something like that, so 37 OPG.
Yeah, I was actually looking at those. That's kind of, and looking at the Appling. That's one that I want to get. It's a great card.
It's a very cool one. Yeah, so we definitely are 2 for 2 in agreement. So
right, you didn't bring, and I think you have it. I was looking at it online. You have the Wheaties box, right? From, is it 48? Yeah, that thing's cool.
I think it's from the 30s. I want to say those 36, 37, 38 range.
Okay, yeah. I think I was texting you, and I'm like, this is cool, and you had it. So the match game with you and me, I'll lose that every time. So
well, and those are, I think that was like $15. That's another one.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah.
I saw one for 60, so that tells me, all right, maybe I can get a little cheaper then. All right.
Yeah, well, and they get butchered a lot, so I think the only one I paid any real money for was DiMaggio, and there's like a Gehrig out there I'd like to get that.
Oh yeah, that's a 32, isn't it? The Gehrig or something, the bigger one.
Maybe there's several actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so that I guess it depends how salty you want to get. There's one of him fielding where it talks about his consecutive game streak, where it's like 1,200 games. I just think it's so cool because we all know what his record is. So to see it like in progress being noted is just neat.
That's awesome. That is very cool.
Yeah.
So we are going to. I guess we'll go to 3. This will be fun.
All right. Should I? I'll bounce back to 3. Man. All right. So I'm gonna 3 for me was a slam dunk, and I know it's the guy we were. This is the only guy that you said you wish you could have put that didn't. So I'll bring him in now because I think he has to be, and he's not a full career White Sox guy. So unfortunately, we had to share him with a couple other teams, but. That's the popular pose. Eddie Collins.
Yep.
His really, when you look at his career, he played so many years. 25, I think it was.
Right.
His real peak was with the Sox, but he had so many great years when he was younger with the A's that, I guess that counts. But I just showed this one, which is crazy tough card.
That's cool.
I don't even think people realize what that is in terms of scarcity. I'd never heard of it.
What is Honey Boy?
Exactly. I think it's like Canadian ice cream.
Okay.
I think there's 4 graded with SGC, and then there's this one with PSA.
Wow.
So I own 20% of them, and it's right here.
That's crazy.
So yeah, it's tough. It's one of the few that I've ever. I commented to Mangini, and he said I don't have one from that set yet. I was like, that's impossible.
I got one. Yeah.
Another one I just picked up that I thought was
very cool.
I love that image.
Very cool.
To snag one of those, what is this? 21 Oxford confectionery, but it's in a 5. I couldn't remember the grade. I guess I could look on the screen, but yeah, to get that in a 5 was awesome. I just love that image with the big sock on his chest.
I'm typically a hat guy, but that is a great image of him without the hat. I actually like that. That's very
I
cool.
actually, you had me going on the Cracker Jack being the thing to do, but the more I looked at the Cracker Jack, and I know that it's the same image as when he's with the A's,
Right.
so I know it's kind of a cheating. But I mean, this is the card. If I had to pick one, it's not necessarily the most expensive, but I just love the way it looks, and that's why I want to get a nice clean version of it. Most of his stuff, I mean, just to give an idea, I'm not even going to bother with what these are, but most of these strip cards are just all these hand cuts, and I think that's one of the reasons that Collins gets a little overlooked is the strip cards just aren't that expensive.
Sure.
But I was thinking about that as we were getting ready for this. He's got some cool caramels.
Yep.
So that's a E121, and then E120, which has that super popular swinging hose. Yeah, really, really cool look. But I think he's one of 3, maybe I'm wrong, that has a T206 and a 33 Gaudy.
Oh, really? That's a good. Do you know who the other 2 are?
Well, Speaker, I know does. I have both of those.
Yeah.
And the other one I'll never complete because it's Nap Lajoie.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Right.
33 Gaudy.
Good luck on getting that Gaudy.
Right. If we sell the house, I might be able to get the card, but that's
right. That's amazing. Those are awesome. And again, so for the record, folks, that would have been my pick as well. I don't have a card of his. So, you were just saying, Aaron, I was getting you on the Cracker Jack. My whole thought was in doing my White Sox Hall of Fame run, I had stipulations. Had to be with the team for 5 years, and it had to be your first card. Well, the first card that I can find of him was the Cracker Jack, and I'm like, you know what? I might start bending those rules just because at the end of the day, I want more than just that card anyway. So in my head, I was fighting with do I save the money for the Cracker Jack, or do I just go out and get some other cool cards and then I'll get it when I get it kind of deal. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it's an awesome card, though. I mean,
no doubt. I did want to mention that I was going to show this as my number 1 because I think everybody clearly believes it, and I forgot. Oh, so for the record, folks, he didn't even hit my honorable mentions, but we all love Harold Baines.
Yeah.
So there it is. This camera's like moving on me, Aaron. I don't know why. If you watch, it starts to shift. So I don't know what that's about. But all right. So you went 3 Eddie Collins. So here's what I can tell you. I had someone in 3, and then I bumped them. And I was first looking at WAR not being everything. And my 3 and 4 can kind of flip flop if needs be. But in my head, after I did all this, I considered this to be my number 3, and it is Nelly Fox. So, I kind of started digging into the stats and digging into the numbers. He was 14 years with the team. His WAR was only 49.4. Finished with a 288 average. He was a 15-time All-Star. Won an MVP, to almost 2,700 hits. So in my head, that amount of production and that amount of recognition with others in baseball community for what I'm trying to say is to be a 15-time All-Star, I think that carries some value. So I switched it. He was actually going to be an honorable mention for me. And then I flipped it and I went, all right. And it wasn't because and for the record, out of everybody here that I have sitting on my desk right now, I have the most of Nelly. So I've got a lot of Nelly cards. So I'll just whip through them quick here. Some are non-playing days again. That was from my good friend Warren.
That's a cool one though.
Yeah, that's a cool one. 61, Big Wada Chew.
Yeah.
58, and then lastly my 55 Redman. So, and I didn't even grab them all. I said I had to stop. I'm like, all right, I don't want to hog all the time. But again, really not. I mean, I don't know. People look at that WAR and say, well, 60s is when you start to look. And but at the end of the day, he was a 15-time All-Star. Played for a long time. Played for 14 years. I found, like you had mentioned earlier, did I show this? I don't know if I showed that.
No.
Keystone combo. So
yeah.
I found that as I was doing this, much like you mentioned, years with the team meant something to me, and longevity with the team meant something to me. So there is a guy, I'll go, that was my three. There is a guy who's my top honorable mention that we'll get to quite with the team for quite some time. So I'm sure you know who that is, but so I guess, am I four then? I guess I'll go four.
Yeah, I'll just toss in, I pulled him as an honorable mention for sure.
Okay. Oh yeah. Perfect.
And actually it's funny because he's somebody that I've decided to collect extra hard.
Okay.
Reason being, I was a second baseman, super cool. He is a White Sox legend, but he grew up and owned a bowling alley 20 minutes from my house right now.
Right.
So like I can take my kids to Nellie Fox Bowling Alley that still is operating, which is just
awesome.
so it's the coolest thing in the world. So the downside is I'm 700 miles from Chicago and he's still considered the local guy, so his cards aren't cheap.
Right.
I'm still paying like hometown prices, but yeah,
Great
you get
card.
like Redman, the rookie. I thought I'd pull the Wilson Franks.
Yeah, I was looking at one. That one that we were looking at online is still there, I think.
Is it really?
Yeah, and it's a good price.
Yeah.
So, I think it was a BVG holder, if I wasn't mistaken.
I like BVG holders when they're already in it because you pay, like, you get a discount for no reason.
Right. Exactly right.
Here's two that I'm going to show that I thought were neat pickups. To the point of MVP, but it's autographed.
When did you get that?
That's somewhat new. Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I love those 61s.
Yeah, the 61 MVP.
Yeah.
And then I figured that would be a good one to get autographed. And then the other thing that I thought was, this might be one of one. Maybe it's one of 100. I have no idea, but there can't be a lot of them. So it's a postcard from his bowling alley, autographed by him.
How cool is that?
So
that is very cool.
It actually says the bowling alley and all this stuff on the back. So yeah, best wish. He literally signed. So the front is the imitation signature and the back is
same thing, but the real.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. That is awesome. So so he was an honorable mention for you then. Okay.
He was probably maybe my favorite,
right?
But Mount Rushmore is a different conversation, I guess.
I'm racking my brain as to who your fourth is. So yeah, that was my twist. And I think just you have enough knowledge of the team and players and how I collect based on the guy that I bumped. I think you already know who that is. But I guess I'll go ahead and start with four. And I don't have a lot of playing days cards of this person either. But four for me, which might be a little bit of a homer pick because I just like him. I went with Ed Walsh. So pretty phenomenal stats. And this is, I guess, my next, when we get to my top honorable mention, it kind of mucks things up a little bit. But had a 66 WAR, 195 wins, played with the team for 13 years, had a World Series, 1906, and 2 ERA titles. And then there's my Leaf Premium. So those are the only 2 Ed Walsh's, but I will be adding him to the collection quite soon. So his numbers were there. I think he finished, and I didn't write it down. I think he finished with a career ERA at like 1.6 or 1.67, something crazy like that. Like he still holds the record for the lowest ERA or something like that. I know Mangini always whips out that stat, and I'm not 100% certain if that's correct or not.
I think he's second lowest.
Second lowest? Okay.
I'm definitely subject to being wrong. Him and Addy Joss, I think, were both in like the 1.8s.
Okay, 1.8s. Okay.
I'm almost positive.
Maybe it was lowest in the season or something like that. I don't know. There's still some stat that he has. And if John watches this, he can correct us in the comments.
And maybe he's lowest. Maybe Joss is second. They might be,
Yeah, I you know what? It's funny. I took all these notes down. I didn't write that down as to what it was, but I thought it was 1.67. I thought, and I could be wrong. So
might be 1.87. Maybe it's
1.87. It could be. Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in that ballpark. that's frustrating because like 12-year-old me would have known this.
We're getting older.
Yeah.
That's why you got to read the backs of the cards now instead of memorize them like you did when you were 12.
Oh my gosh, I know. It's terrible. It's terrible. Well, I mean, talk about matching up. The only difference we had then was we picked a different second baseman.
Yes, okay. So the only difference was because I didn't have the card. Otherwise, we would have been right on the money.
Yeah. So
which that surprises me actually.
So, well, this is one that I think nobody could actually argue with us then because we're clearly right.
Exactly. Not only are we fans, but we're right in line. So there's no way we could be wrong.
Yeah. 100% of White Sox fans agree. This is
right.
Rushmore. So yeah, those 60 and 61 flares, I love those because they're cool and cheap.
I love that. I love the T205.
T205, and these I feel like as long as you can find them without the borders being eaten, look really, really cool.
Yep.
So
even in a lower grade, like you can get it, because I'd be doing the same thing. I'd be looking at 1.5s, and that's awesome.
Look at I just love that there's a White Sox in
the
upper corner of it. Like, to me, that's the coolest thing in the world. And then I have not quite as fancy as your 2, but I have a 1.
Yes.
Working on at least one of every Hall of Famer from the T206 set. So
that's phenomenal. I didn't know you were doing that.
That's a goal list. I think I'm down to half a dozen maybe to go. Just one of every player, not every card, because some have
right
4 Cobbs. So all right, we're back after some technical difficulties, but
yes, perfect.
So, Jason was asking if I had you asked me if I had the Mecca. I do not have the Mecca. I only have a couple of those from that set.
Okay.
The last Walsh I have is an E90. Now there's E90 is a weird set. This is an E90-3. The E90-1 is a really cool looking Walsh.
Oh, it's a different image?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's one that I want to say I've only seen a couple for sale. And I think they're in those, if you want to overpay for it kind of price range.
Right.
So I'm hoping at some point we'll just see an auction pop up and I can find one for a fair price, but it's a really cool looking card.
He's got a great Cracker Jack as well.
Yes.
I wasn't really targeting that, but maybe someday. The Cracker Jacks that I'm looking at are Hall of Famers, but are White Sox Hall of Famers. So I'm looking for the Ray Schalk and possibly the Eddie Collins, but the Walsh is a beautiful one too. So
yeah, definitely agree. Definitely.
So we were right on the money, minus Eddie Collins, and only because I didn't have a card. All right. So honorable mention. I want to show my first one because he was on the top 4 until about maybe 2 hours before we decided to record this. And I only have one card of his. His quote unquote is considered his rookie card. And that's Ted Lyons. And the reason I had him on, the reason I was going to put him on, he played with the team for 21 years. He had an ERA title, 260 wins, so more than Walsh, but obviously played much longer with the team than Walsh did, and played, I believe, his entire career with the team, minus 1 year of military service. All 21 years of his career were with the White Sox. So to me, that I was finding that I was leaning towards that as we were picking, as I mentioned earlier. So he was, and again, I want to get some more of his cards. That's a beautiful card. And for those familiar with dealers, I got that from William Chappell, 2 years ago, ungraded, and it came back at 2.5. So I was thrilled.
Nice. Well done.
So that was my honorable mention. And when I was comparing stats, and it was almost like he was a little bit of a compiler compared to Walsh, and what Walsh did was so ridiculous in the time that he did it that I had to put him in the top 4. So
I was exact same argument. I mean, I pulled him as well. That's
cool.
One of those relics. So a little jersey. I don't have the one you have, so I don't have the Gaudy. I've got the Diamond Stars,
which is an awesome card. That's a great looking card.
Yeah, still kind of a fun one. And then the last one I have is, I think, one I showed that you said you were going to add to the list because
yes,
I think that's a tough one, but that's such a cool looking card. So.
That is a fantastic image.
Yeah, that is a 1930 blue ribbon mold. So that's
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Blank back, correct?
Well, it's supposed to be. Mine's got writing on it, but yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, right.
Actually, we should go there. Jay Lamont, living at 3721 West. It's got an address
Hey,
in
I've got your
Chicago.
card.
Yeah, maybe after the National, we can go hit it up and see who's living there these days.
That'd be phenomenal. So I gave you Ted Lyons. Throw a couple of your honorable mentions out there. What you got cooking?
Well, I just brought in some sillies. I mean, some of them are just things. I included a couple guys that I wish would have had more career with the Sox.
Right. Al Simmons. Yeah. Tattoo Orbit. Beautiful card. He's got a phenomenal Diamond Stars. He's got a phenomenal Diamond Stars as well.
And So, I have his Diamond Stars, but he's not with the Sox and the Diamond Stars, unfortunately. So I have to get that one.
Yeah, he's got the two cards, one without the logo and one with, right?
Yeah. I figured I'd include this. His White Sox career is not Mount Rushmore worthy, but his career is. And we'll just make Sammy upset for him not being in the Mets uniform, but that's a honoring the 300th victory for Tom Seaver, since he did it as a White Sox player.
I didn't break out any of the Seaver. What was it? 2 years was he with the team? 2, I think.
I think so. Yeah. At the end, he was just kind of running around and getting some extra. And I actually included another one just for. Actually, I guess I could show a couple others, but Fisk is the same thing. Not enough of his career with this color of socks.
And I'll tell you, he was kind of one of my fringe honorable mentions as well. So.
Yeah. So this I actually kind of included because of what it is. So that's an 82 tops and a PSA 8. I also have an 82. I don't know if you've seen these. I didn't know this existed till a couple years ago. 82 tops and a 9 blackless.
So there's no black in the. Yeah, let me see them side by side.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, clearly.
So for my printing friend. Yeah, when you actually see like literally, so any of them that have like signatures, the signature's gone.
Yep.
The border.
Also look at the flesh tones. He's much redder on the one with 4 colors as opposed to the one with 3 colors. It's a lot more faint. So
the blacklist error variations are very, very scarce.
I was not familiar with that at all, to be honest with you.
So that's one where you're talking like bargain bins and all that stuff. Check out the 82 tops all the way to the case, because even I think a Richard Dotson just went through an auction in a 5 for like $40.
Really?
Like it's I mean I scored that at a deal and it was still 3 figures. They're just
that's cool though. I like that a lot.
So and I scored a Fisk. So
exactly.
Cool 80 Fisk.
I think some of my guys. I'll do this guy because I love his first 2 cards. And he's not a Hall of Famer. So there's Billy Pierce, 51 Bowman rookie, and then which I think is an awesome card. And then there's his 52. So I don't know why I keep zooming in and out like that. I'm guessing that's a setting of mine. So it just likes to move me around. Yeah. And then there's his 60. So I just grabbed a couple of them. I have more, but I think he's an underappreciated player for what he was. Although, as a White Sox fan, he's recognized in the organization. He's got a stake too. So I mean, he's recognized within Chicago. So as long as they're still going to be in Chicago, at least, who knows what's going to happen there?
Oh, good Lord!
Right?
Yeah. No, that's classic. He's one of those classic like team Hall of Fame, but not MLB Hall of Fame kind of players.
Exactly right. Yep. He's the Ken Boyer. Right, for the Cardinals kind of deal. So I don't know. I just randomly I've got another one. I've got a bunch of his cards. I won't show them all. Aparicio. He's got a.
I don't want to say we think alike, but sure. Great minds think alike.
He's fantastic. This one was probably lower on my list of honorable mentions only because he bounced around a lot and he wasn't part of that 59 team. That went to the World Series. So, as great as he was, I do want to show some kind of different stuff. This, I believe it was Joe Soft Corners gave me this as a gift at the National. So
Nice.
exhibit card, which is cool. And then I
Yeah.
showed this recently.
Yep. I
My
love
lid.
that.
So yeah, I mean, and then I guess I'll do this. I'll finish off my honorable mentions. Maybe this one just pulled on my heartstrings because of 05 Konerko. So
Nice.
so I grabbed a bunch of Konerko cards. I'm like, obviously didn't play his whole career with the White Sox, but pulled on my heart. That was my guy. So I had to show a couple of his cards.
That's awesome. That's good stuff.
That's
I'm
fun.
trying to. Yeah. Well, I pulled. So I have two others, but I think this one.
I didn't take it out. I didn't take it out. And he's got like an 80 WAR. Like,
right. Only 30 something with the White Sox, I think.
Right. Correct.
Yeah.
Overall career is like an 80. But yeah, that's a great card.
Yeah. George Davis, T206. Most people aren't probably familiar. This was like end of his career at this point. So
correct. Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of a different end of the world, but yeah, I'm talking about like top 10 switch hitters of all time. I mean, he'd probably be on that list and nobody knows it.
Yep. And the best part is he's an undervalued. I mean, obviously T206 is T206. That was my first T206 card I ever bought. And I'm trying to think if I have it ready and available. I probably don't, but you can get him at a decent price because people just, he's just underappreciated and not as well known. So that's a good one. I didn't even think of that. I should have. I didn't even take that out.
Well, and again, like that's one that wasn't really in the running, but it's one of those, like, had he played more years for the Sox, now he's in that discussion of, and the last one was the one I showed you before we came on too.
Yep.
Had it not been for scandal, and he played for Cleveland, he only played I think maybe 6 years with the White Sox.
I think it was 5 or 6. I think you're correct. One of the other 5 or 6.
Yeah, it was I think it was like 15 to 20 time frame was White Sox portion of his career, but I mean, he'd be number one if it wasn't for getting to finish his career. So,
and I guess you can get mad at me because I'm a liar, because there it is. It was on the desk, so there it is. I had piles here, and I'm like, everything is White Sox. There's another guy, not his whole career. Red Faber, 33 Gaudy. And then I just love the card. This is the year I was born, 73. So Goose Costas rookie card. So, but I think that worked out well. I thought it was kind of a layup. I thought we'd differ a little bit more. We would have been exactly the same had I had an Eddie Collins card. So we would have been identical to each other, which makes me kind of laugh. And I want to get your thoughts on this. So let's just call yours the correct one. I went with Nelly because I don't have Eddie. Out of the top 4 in Rushmore in White Sox history, there's only one recent player. All the other 3 are pre-war players.
Yeah.
So it's not like a real deep, rich history of players throughout the golden age in the 60s and 70s and 80s. You've got your good, you got your we got your Hall of Famers with Nelly and Aparicio, but once you get past that, what are we talking? Harold Baines, right?
Right.
And, Rock Raines, who played with different teams, and
it's and inner circle. It's really tough to come up with White Sox players you'd put inner circle. I mean, even Frank, I don't think quite reaches maybe his inner circle as some. I don't know if he has that like name where you're like, whoa, Frank Thomas.
Right. Correct. I agree with that. And I think that also might be a little bit due to the era that he played in. I think that could be it. Had he put those numbers up in the 70s, or, maybe we'd be looking at him a little differently.
Right.
Although, if people ask me who's the best hitter of that era, he's the second best in my opinion. I put Tony Gwynn ahead of him as far as the best hitter of that particular era. Gwynn started in 83, so I mean it's kind of the same era. Frank started in 90. So
he runs into Griffey.
Yeah, right, Griffey.
Griffey was, I feel like he was the poster boy for cool with the hat backwards and all the stuff. Even though he played in Seattle, he still wasn't in like the prime New York, LA market, but he still, I think, was the one that got the press, maybe more so.
Absolutely. And I've got a couple of his cards with the White Sox for the 1 year that he played. I think it was 08. I think 08 was 1 year. So
should have pulled him too. Him and Bo Jackson. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Pulled the Bo. Right.
Yeah.
So, for the record, Bo lives locally still in Chicago.
Really?
And, he will. He actually knows. He knows my in-laws, and so I've got his autograph through my in-laws. And the first question he asked them was, "Well, is he a Sox fan or a Cubs fan?" And they said, "Well, of course he's a Sox fan." And he's like, "All right, if he was a Cubs fan, I'm not signing." So, yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. He still
Seems
does
like
a
he's
lot.
a good guy.
Yeah, he's a very good guy. Does a lot here locally. I've met him once, and then obviously got his autograph. But very cool guy, and still pretty involved in the community here. So in the Chicagoland area, at least. So.
Yeah.
But,
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. All right, sir. Well, I think that wraps it up, right?
I think we're good. I think we have the exact right answer, and nobody's allowed to disagree with us.
That's right. Exactly right. Well, listen,
Yeah.
I'll leave it up to people who can comment on this. Let us know what you guys think of this. It'll be moving. We're gonna step up production. We'll get a thumbnail. We'll get real fancy in time. But this was the inaugural episode. Where our future plan is to have guests on and pick topics. And if you guys have a topic of your own that you're thinking might be fun, shoot it in the comments, right? I mean, we can definitely mow it over. So.
Yeah, I would love to have folks, because really, to me, I think the most fun is having somebody on that can, really feature their collection, feature what they enjoy. So if they're a player collector, we can do the top 4 cards from that person's run. If it's a team collector, give me the top 4 from that team, like we just did.
Right.
You can grab any random position and say top 4 shortstops, go. And that's fun banter.
This can go on forever, which is what's awesome about it. It gives us plenty. You don't have to think real hard for a topic. It's just like, boom, that's it. Let's do it. And for the record, we do have a topic for the next one. So if you come up with an idea, it might be the 3rd episode. So.
But we have openings for episodes 3 through 5,000. So
right, exactly right. All righty, sir. I'll let you sign us off, and then
all right,
we'll call it.
Yeah, I think we're a wrap for episode 1, and we will we'll be filming episode 2 next week. So this will not be a weekly regular occurrence. This is really just pure joy, pure fun. But we are looking forward to more Mount Rushmores in the future. So see you all next time. Beautiful.
Thanks.
See you, my friend.
See you, Aaron.